Today, we're going to review some gloves for you. Okay guys, so I got some of these gloves. They are goatskin leather gloves. You can get them in non-perforated or perforated leather, which means the perforated are going to breathe better, so they're more for summer. The leather are more for spring or fall, maybe even winter. I got these gloves from Zoozoob.com. That's Zoozoob. I'll have a link in the description below if you want to buy them. These are currently going for 30 or 40% off. We've got goatskin leather. It's got a Velcro wrist strap. It's got a cool little feature where you can button the two gloves together. There's a little bug. So you never just lose one glove. If you're going to lose them, you're going to lose them both. On the hand here, you can see you've got an extra layer for anti-skid properties. Help protect you in those laydowns. You've got integrated armor knuckles, and then you've got some sort of padding. Feels like gel in there, maybe some sort of gel or foam on the top part of the fingers. It's got this weird logo right here. It looks a lot like Icon to me. Maybe they're trying to kind of look like Icon. And then on the strap here it says Superbike. That kind of looks like the Alpine Star logo. So I got these in my usual size, and they fit really well. They feel really good. I really like them. They look nice. I like how low they go down onto your wrist. That means they'll tuck under jackets nicely. The strap is pretty tight. You could go tighter. I don't think they'll come off in a wreck or anything. It's easy to move. The leather's not too thick, but it feels thick enough to be fairly protective. We're going to figure that out here pretty soon. I wanted to show you something. These are the gloves I currently use. I got these off Amazon, and these are very, very similar design to the perforated version. They are almost the exact design. You've got, it looks like there's a little more padding, a little more leather protection in the skid areas on this one, but then on the ones I usually wear, you've got like a protective gel down here, which I don't know how well that will actually work in a crash. I feel like the gel will just rip right off of there. These Zoozoob ones actually feel like a lot nicer quality. They are a tiny bit more expensive, but I feel like it might be worth it. And the ones I usually wear don't come down as far on the wrist, and the strap is a little lacking. You can't really get it very tight, and when you do, it kind of bunches up over here. So I may have to make these my new regulars. Anyhow, the perforated version is exactly the same. It just has holes in the leather for breathability. I was actually going to review these and then give one pair away, since I got two pair and I have my normal riding gloves. But my dogs climbed on my table and chewed into this one, so we already know they're not dog proof, but that gives us a good chance to see inside here. And you can see it's basically just normal plastic, which is what most of the gloves have. Plastic will protect you in a crash pretty well, not as well as some more expensive materials, of course, but it's going to protect your knuckles. You're not going to, crush your knuckles on impact or anything. Even if it says it's Kevlar and it has cool designs, it's usually just plastic, just like this. They might be a tiny bit too big. You'd probably be good if you went down a size. I feel like my knuckles don't line up quite right, but when I bend it, it's fine. But like I said, you'd probably be okay going down a size too. So, instead of giving away a pair, I'm going to torture test these ones, which kind of sucks because I was really looking forward to the non-perforated ones since I already have perforated gloves. So, I'm a little disappointed that I don't get to use these anymore, but let's go test them out, see how well they hold up to some abuse. First thing I'm going to do is something you shouldn't do. And that is punch a brick wall. The leather feels really, really thin, extra thin over the knuckle protection. But I'm going to punch this wall, and then I'm going to scrape. I'm going to punch it pretty good. Then I'm going to scrape it down the wall, see how the knuckle protection holds up. So let's do this. Okay, so the punch hurt my knuckles, of course, but it would have hurt a lot worse. I think it did a pretty good job protecting on the impact. I punched it pretty good. I don't know if you could tell, but I punched it, put a lot of force into it. And then I scraped it up and down, and there's quite a bit of scrapage, but it didn't get through to the plastic. And I really didn't feel anything where these little gel protectors are on the tops of my fingers. And they held up pretty well. The leather on them didn't really scrape off. So now we're going to cut it open and see exactly what is underneath the finger part and see what the plastic is like underneath the knuckle portion. Here we are on the back of my car again. I don't know how well you can see this, but I'm going to do the already chewed through glove, the non-dog proof. It's on there pretty good. Use some type of glue to put it on there. There is foam padding on the inside, just to help protect your knuckles a little more. It's not thick at all, but it is nice and squishy. Okay, so here's the plastic. It's see-through. I can see through it. It's pretty thin, but it's pretty sturdy. You can bend it pretty good, and it's very thin. But like I said, it protected that punch pretty well. And let's get into these fingers. Okay, the fingers have an under layer of that same foam, and then above them is some sort of rubbery material, and those did really well in that punch, protecting my fingers. Alright, I think next test we'll rub it on the ground a bunch, see how it holds up. If it holds up pretty good, we're gonna get the Dremel out with a sandpaper bit. And okay, here we are on my driveway. I've got the glove that I didn't cut up. My driveway is pretty coarse, so we're just gonna start rubbing for a bit and see what happens. Okay, I don't know how long that was, but I was rubbing with quite a bit of pressure for longer than I think a crash would have you rubbing, but with a crash you're probably going to have even more pressure than that. And looking at the leather, it held up very well. As you can see here, if my camera is pointed in a good angle, on the thumb area, it wore down the most, but really it's just scuffed up. It didn't really go through much of the leather. You can see tiny pieces of the leather on the ground here. I was pushing especially hard on this finger because it has that extra protection layer right there. That might be for touchscreen usability, I'm not sure. I'll try real quick. Well, I don't know if it's for touchscreen usability because all the fingers seem to work on my phone's touchscreen, so these are touchscreen compatible, which is good to know. There's like hardly any damage at all over here where the extra protection layers are, and the stitching is what I thought would go first. It's double stitched. I thought that would go. It held up great. Let's try it with a little bit more pressure. Still, wow, that surprises me. This stitching frayed a little bit. The glove's really hot now. I was putting a lot of pressure on that time. Stitching held up great. Leather held up great. I am very impressed. I think I'm going to grab the other glove and I'm going to rip it open here and see if there's anything special inside these little stitched areas real quick. Yeah, so there's nothing in these little areas. Maybe that's just to help keep this on in case these stitches fail. I'm not sure. But as you can see, the leather is actually pretty thick. It probably says on the website how thick it is. It's pretty thick. And then you have this other layer, which is even a bit thicker, I'd say, on top of it. Good thing about these gloves, I noticed, some gloves that are just straight leather, like the ones I used to wear, after a long ride, your hands will be all black and you'll have a bunch of nasty suede leather bits on your hand. But these have this mesh inside screen area, so your hands aren't actually touching exactly on the leather, so you're not going to have black, nasty hands like that. And that's just from I was digging around in here. Okay, got my Dremel. Start with the thinner thumb area, then go to the anti-skid area, then maybe we'll try the fingers. Alright, we're through. Tiny little hole. Still pretty structurally sound. In theory, the anti-skid area, I'll do it up here where we didn't really get a bunch of abrasion from the rub test. In theory, this should take about twice as long since it has 2 layers. And we're through. That took a lot longer than I expected. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Let's see if we can get the fingers. And we're through the finger. Wow, the finger took a lot longer than I expected. I don't know if it's because I'm losing juice or if it's because my sandpaper's clogged up a bit with leather particles, but yeah, I ripped that seam too on the fingers, but they're only single stitched. You've got nice heavy triple stitching on the sides, double stitching everywhere in the main slide zones. Might as well go ahead and do the knuckle pad. And we're through. Yeah, see, it's super thin right there. Oh, there we go. All in all, I think these are really nice gloves for the price. Of course, they're no Alpine Star or, you know, those higher end racing gloves, but for everyday cruising, riding around town, if you want a good quality, low price glove that will stand up to abuse, and I'd say it'd last quite a long time, I would definitely go with these. They're 40% off right now, I think, with free shipping, and they're about $38, $39, so not bad at all. There will be a link in the description to Zoozoob.com. They don't only sell gloves, they sell quite a bit of other things. They sell those new brake locks that you clamp onto your motorcycle brake, and those are pretty cool. I've been wanting to try one of those out, so maybe I'll grab one of those. But one more test before we go here. Let me just yank on this thing and see how well it holds up. Well, the finger area stitching leaves a lot to be desired, that's for sure. But all the stitching everywhere else is really good quality. Yeah, I can't rip it down the sides. I can't rip any of this off. The fingers rip through pretty easy, but that's it. The fingers seem like they have thicker leather on them too, maybe. Anyway, that's gonna be it. Link in the description if you want to buy that. Follow me on Instagram. Link for my Patreon page if you want to be a patron. That really helps me bring you stuff like this, let you know about cheap, affordable gear that will work just fine for people who aren't racing and such. And I will see you next time.